Got some more FE7x, the Immortal Sword today. I'm actually gonna restart this chapter so we get the pre-battle skit in this section as well. And in case anyone forgot, like I have kind of, I remember the gist of it, but can't hurt to watch it again. Give some time for people to trickle in. See. Oh, there's 10 slots. I didn't even notice. Go to chapter select. There we go. Yeah, I'll stick to doing this one since this is the one that I previewed. I thought about going back and doing 1x instead. But I can do that afterwards. Since chapter 1 was the one that was previewed at the last FE3, I might have mentioned this. I'm a little worried that this is all that there's left to the game. So far, it is still very much a work in progress, and I would love to come back to this later in a year, half a year, see what new things have been added. Not entirely sure. In the event that these two are the last things available, I'm not entirely sure yet what I'll do. I may go back to the Sacred Stones randomizer and try to amp up that randomization. Let's see if I need to launch Streamlabs, make sure everything's showing up properly. So I'm not seeing any activity yet, and I'm not sure if it's because there hasn't been activity or no, it doesn't look like anything. I can't help but be curious what they have in mind for this game overall, like in terms of the grand scheme. It's been in the works for, let's say, several years now, and considering how they've made it, I understand the slow progress and not critical of that. But I've just enjoyed what I've played so much so far that I'm definitely eagerly looking forward to more. I've also kind of been kicking around the idea of just doing a vanilla Fire Emblem 7 run. Mostly because I know some of my viewers are interested in older Fire Emblem games, but don't necessarily have the time or have the means available to play them. So if I worked through that, I could at least share the general story with them. And I know that game well enough that I could probably make almost anything work, so we could even have a little bit of fun, have viewers maybe pick pick the characters they want me to use or apply other restrictions or stipulations or what have you. And do that, maybe do FE6 as well. And then maybe throw Elibean Knights in between those. That's something that's a hack that takes place after 7 but before 6, and kind of explores explores some of the epilogues of the FE7 characters in more depth, and kind of helps bridge the gap between 7 and 6, at least in terms of theoretical fan speculation of what if. I was talking about potentially doing just a vanilla run of FE7 because some of our people in the Discord are interested in seeing them but don't necessarily have the time or ability to play them on their own. And then maybe juggling the idea of letting viewers kind of pick my characters or something. It does beg the question, if we were to show off FE7's story in one go through one playthrough, is it better to show Eloyd's story or Hector's story? Because while Hector's story does have a bit more stuff, it also tells the story from the perspective of a character that's technically not the focus of most of it. Though I don't think anything is strictly lost in Hector's version that is in Eloyd's story. But I'll give it another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll jump into this chapter, and anyone else who comes in trickles in under the knowledge that they were late to begin with. Yeah. I have to go through Lynn's story too, though I may do Lynn's or I may redo Lynn's 7x off screen so that I can grind up Nils to a high enough level to get 18xx, because that's a pretty stupid Gaiden chapter requirement. I know Shadow Dragon gets flack for having the requirement of having to kill off characters in order to get extra chapters, but yeah, 18xx's requirements are pretty dumb in their own right. Go for it. Huh. What's her face actually starts off with some funds. Now that I'm staring at it, I'm not sure I quite know what all of this interface stuff is. Let's see here, I've got my cursor. It's like, I'm not sure what this II, or what's... No, that's still... This looks like it's built into the panel, but I'm not entirely sure what it means. 6441. It's definitely not the number of turns it took, because I'm pretty sure it took longer than that. Playtime must be the time that I started. Though that doesn't entirely make sense either. Wonder if this remembered which level I got to at the end. Does this one? Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I've been pretty comfortable on normal mode so far. I'm not looking to go too crazy with the difficulty, especially since I don't know what's going to be thrown at me just yet. Up until Awakening, I've been kind of content to play my first playthrough on normal difficulty and then kind of see from there whether or not I felt challenged enough on normal or go up to hard. Like I play FE6, I think I generally have the most fun on normal mode, though I've done hard mode before. And Awakening, I went right to hard mode, though partially because I had the benefit of being able to play the demo and was able to get at least a small sense of the difficulty from that. Because then Fates rolled around, and on my first playthrough, I actually started on hard and had to kick it down to normal because I was having difficulty understanding the mechanics on the first playthrough, and it took me that playthrough before I internalized things enough to go back and do stuff on hard mode, and was okay after that, but Fates is always a discussion in and of itself. Alright. Vid. Alright, I still not entirely sure what this setting does. Yep, that's fine. I didn't really do anything last time anyway. So in the original game, there's very little characterization of the legendary heroes, in part because the main games take place a significant amount of time after their departure. But Legends kind of say more of what they did, and then maybe one thing they were known for, and then move on. And Roland gets a little bit of characterization, and Armad's wasn't his name, was it? I don't remember. The Berserker. Went to the Western Isles. I'm blanking on his name. If it wasn't Armad's. And he gets some characterization. Durbans. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. He gets some characterization because those two are the main. They're the ones who give off their weapon to the main characters of 7. So each of them, Hector and Elle, would respect, or Elwood and Hector respectively, kind of have to face this shadow of the legendary hero before they earn their weapon. So you see a little bit of them, but characters like Saint Elamine and Hartmut, you hear of very little, even though Hartmut is pretty important to Roy's legendary weapon. So this game has a fair amount of free reign to kind of characterize the legendary heroes as it wants or needs or thinks is appropriate, and it's good to see that they kind of run with that. See, this is Baragon wasn't pictured even in the prologue for this game. That does show Hartmut, Roland, Emmeline, and one of the other. It was a Berserker character, but it wasn't Durban. I don't remember his name. But it's neat to see that they weren't all paragons of goodness and justice. The Baragon here is kind of a questionable guy. And then they kind of, Eliza is her name, right? And they kind of help establish more lore behind the country itself than the original games do, kind of working with what the original games have to and trying to explain it in whatever way they think makes sense. In this case, making Ilya predominantly matriarchy, which, thinking back, a lot of the prominent characters that come out of Ilya are female, especially leader-wise. Zealot being the one exception. Almost, I think, trying to think, the only major characters out of Ilya that hold like positions are generally Pegasus Knights, which in this continent are all female. So that does kind of make sense. And then you see how they developed into this mercenary style of culture. Though I believe I mentioned last time that they don't, based on the description, it didn't seem to be doing well off enough as a nation as a whole to really have a prestigious military academy, but I won't question it too much. It'll be interesting seeing how they tie in Brendan here as well. Makes me wonder what made you think he did have a head for commerce. Alright, and then we have the Pegasus Knight that's not very good about reining in her Pegasus. Though, let's see, I'm pretty sure the one on the right, Melanie, is the thief, and then the one on the left is the Peg Knight. Yeah. Okay. This scene makes a little more sense than last time. I was under the impression for some reason that Melanie was the Peg Knight, and she was just a Pegasus Knight that didn't have a good relationship with her Pegasus. But it's actually the thief that doesn't get along with the Pegasus. Hmm. Between the earlier bit with Uther and then most of FE7 and 6, Etruria is usually portrayed as one of the two superpowers on the continent alongside Burn. So it's interesting that maybe they're not quite as big yet in this particular at this particular time. They were still bigger than Lycia, but this conversation here is kind of painting them a bit more on the up and up, but not quite at the top yet. They certainly have some personality to them. Does that one in front have a ripped shirt? I'm just kind of trying to figure out what's going on around his collar bones. Zounds. Buddy? Not buddy. Oh, I'm curious to see. I don't remember encountering it when I was poking around last week, but if there is penalties or bonuses for penalties for killing too many or bonuses for not killing a certain amount of enemies on this map. It may not be something that I can figure out on my own just playing it through the first time, and I'm not gonna replay it just to find out on stream, but it'd be an interesting addition. Oh, some extra information here. Oh, so since the stuff, it does give you a rank at the end, this at least allows you to track it mid-chapter, which is nice. Let's see. You have a class that's not villager, but you don't have a portrait, at least not a unique one, so you probably aren't joining me. This guy is, though. He's got an interesting portrait. Let's see what he... Yeah, pretty standard priest's stats. This, per tier, huh? You gotta remember that throwing swords are not daggers, so they don't cause debuffs, though they can still... Well, I was gonna say they can still chip, but I'm not sure that's true. They're 11. Still not sure where that +3 strength is coming from. Yeah, let's see what these guys have to say to each other. Oh, right, this was an interesting skit. Then you start going into beauty care. Right, so these enemies are gray/purple allegiance rather than red, which is a neat touch, and it also does the interesting thing of putting them after the green phase, the ally phase, or other phase. And that might make a difference. It might not. I don't know yet. Depends on what goes on through this chapter. Use a throwing dagger here. I guess giving her a scrunchie with her ponytail is the closest thing they could do to giving her the hat that she actually has. Though I hope that their sprite work can go on to actually give her that hat that she deserves on her sprite for the final version. Let Brendan continue to be a Jagan here. It's still kind of an interesting animation. Not entirely sure what to make of it yet. This is, oh, it does do a little bit of damage. Gonna have to go against weapon triangle there too. If I want to secure a kill though. 13. All right. I like the wind-up for the most part. There's something about it right before the strike that I think something with the way she puts her hands on her spear right before the strike actually lands that I don't quite like. I am not going to initiate this combat. You can come to me. Instead, let's open this door. I mean, it's not, oh yeah, it's not super high, but Slim Lance is looking at, it's displayed at 9. Was it more than 4? No, it was just 4. Yeah, he's just got low luck, and Slim Lance has some built-in. That was a little different than, oh, it was because of focus. I gave up that focus buff. Was it higher than 4? So I don't see anything that... I just don't remember. Huh. Was double digits. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything that should have pushed it into the double digits. There's nothing here that suggests that it reduces his luck any further. Nothing in his skills. Unless it's a weapon triangle. Well, unless it's built into the weapon triangle advantages and disadvantages is the only other thing I can think of. Because they did add bows gain weapon triangle advantage at range and have disadvantage at melee. This is something I forgot about because I haven't actually had a bow wielder. Well, no, I did last chapter. I just forgot about it. Oh, that's something. Well, he's honest. Alright, he doesn't have anything. One of these chests probably holds a staff for him. In the meantime, he's just gonna have to wait. So we got, what, 7 attack speed? How much do we have? 10 with the javelin? Alright, that's acceptable. Oh, okay. Oh, maybe I should go in through the cell. That's fewer things I have to kill before I actually need healing. Yeah. Didn't expect a double, but... Oh right, Vantage. And it's FE9 Vantage. Though I suppose as I'm thinking about going through the crack in the wall, I'm already most of the way through clearing out the enemies before the proper door. What do these guys actually have? Alright, you're a sword user. And you're... Lance, so I can actually lead with Eliza. Steel Lance power. 20 attack. Still gonna get cut pretty substantially. Yeah, I don't know. You make a good point there. See, I'm already at this point. Just break through and then meet up. Are they on alert or something now? I wonder. Yeah, there we go. Drops a bronze sword. Is this that for Melanie, I suppose? Yeah, I'm still kind of going back and forth a bit between whether or not to treat this as a short campaign or if I should kind of plan for like a more long term. Technically, since I don't think there's very much else to the game yet, there's probably only a few chapters, and I shouldn't really worry about long-term balance, experience distribution, and resource management. But it is also kind of ingrained in me, admittedly. So, but tying that back to Eliza's HP, if this was only meant to be a few chapters, then she's only going to gain a few levels, and the cap doesn't really matter. On her stat page, it looks like unpromoted caps, so 20s for everything. HP probably then goes up to 60, but she's not likely to ever get there just because there's not enough content to the game yet. If they planned out more with a more full campaign for Eliza, they might reduce her starting HP a bit to kind of account for that. Interesting. But I can also see here. So the Iron Arch has a weapon triangle advantage here. Is it not crit? I have, what, 3? I only have 3 crit. Standard cleric animation as well. I was gonna say if it isn't broke, don't fix it, but they changed pirates and soldiers animations, so Despite what they said, this is still going to be a pretty clean sweep of pretty much all the enemies. Mostly because none of them have really been easily avoidable. They've either been in my way or they've come at me. That's not a vulnerary. What is that? 4? Oh, I should turn off his animation. Don't need to watch that every time. Unless they go Thracia and say you can miss. I still not entirely sure what motivated that decision. I hope I don't get flanked. Oh, that's neat. That's a nice touch. So there's that exclamation point saying he's got a conversation with Melanie, but even if you move her off screen, there's still that reminder there. Alright, I can go take care of that conversation. Oh, so this is a fates kind of thing where we kill them, but we don't actually kill them. Eh. That was an exchange. Huh, interesting. Oh, they are making a run for it. Do I try to protect them, or do I just leave them be? There's nothing out here, but if something pops out, they're pretty much sitting ducks. We'll kind of see what they do, I guess. Two. Alright, she's not going to survive a critical no matter if she's at that much health or full health. So if I'm going to go in and do this, then might as well heal afterwards. That was hitting me kind of hard there. 11 damage? I suppose my res isn't really that high. Neither is her defense. Wow. 3 defense. The good thing it was a mend staff we got instead of a heal. So, since my only sword user is not a combat unit, I might as well go with an effective weapon. Alright, and what's the store have? She's locking them back up. Huh. Yeah. Yep. Oh, they've got a movement difference too. Just got 4 move to Mom's 5. Yeah. Gonna have abandonment issues at this rate. Oof. He's pretty sturdy. Well, that didn't take long. This is assuming, yeah, that the boss doesn't move. Yeah, whoever designed this one, if it wasn't the same person, realized that a unmoving boss without a 1/2 weapon is kind of fodder for the ranged enemies, or the ranged allies, I guess. It is not droppable, which is kind of okay because the only person in this particular team that can use a sword can already throw theirs. So I stepped into the throne room. Wonder if this will trigger anything. Not this turn, at least. Oh, safely escaped. Even though daughter is still there, daughter's going to take another 2 turns to get to the escape. Is there Eliza and Brendan? I don't. So, yeah, support, not just a conversation. Good catch. The fun kind of mad that you invite to parties. That's good. I wonder who he's referring to. green brothers. Is that maybe supposed to be Reed brothers, or is this just something else? No, it wouldn't make sense because that's his last name. He wouldn't refer to them as the Reed brothers. He was talking about his sons. I'm not sure who the Green brothers are in this particular case then. Especially since they're probably in like their teens at latest. They might be younger than 10 even at this point. At least by the sound of it. Yeah, that's pretty young. Good catch, thank you. Would not have wanted to miss that. So, do I wait for the green allies to all escape before finishing off the boss, is the question. Only a 1.5 effectiveness here, huh? Does it say that? No, it says it should be 2. I wonder if that has something to do with the throne. This is not a skill. So it seems. I do kind of wish that they had given Eliza something different, a different class other than Lord, at least in terms of name. They certainly could have been a little more creative with it, though it may be something in the coding that they were required to have a Lord so that they can seize a throne. But given that they were kind of building this from a different framework than the original games and just doing ROM hacking, I kind of hoped that they would not have that limitation. They'd have the freedom to work or be able to work around it. All right, I'm gonna see what happens when they all go. No other supports. Suppose I could top off Brendan. Yeah, that's not very advantageous. Okay, so they should both be done next turn. Actually, since she has FE9 Vantage, I could have just attacked and then she would have attacked first at the start of next turn anyway. Oh well. So this is Maki himself. Son of a legendary general. I don't think we have enough to go on, especially since we don't really have much lore before this either to say who it is. Of course, now I need to waste another turn to get a seize the throne, but that was a great level up. And my first A rank, so nice Pegasus. Probably because I let those prisoners go. Could have ended it considerably sooner. Let's see, Lionel Griffith is our employer. That is a... That's a guardsman. Is it? I don't really have a good sense of scale. Ooh, there's another chapter. I wonder if she had different. Wonder if she does have different dialogue if you got an S rank. I'm not gonna explore that right now, but maybe another time. All right. What do you think? Should I do 1x or just continue on to 4? I wasn't entirely expecting another chapter still, and with no real way of knowing how much more is past this even. Alright, it's not like 1x is going anywhere. Let's see. Give Melanie this bronze sword. Not much else to do. It's actually a really nice sprite. Really nice mug. His head is tilted. That's enough out of you. This is also a really good mug as well. Interesting. I'm not sure how to feel about him. He probably hasn't turned over a new leaf as adamantly as he claimed, but it would be a nice twist if he had, and then had some interesting consequences. Yeah, though it does seem like they were acquainted already. Um, though having had an announcement before he arrived means it probably wasn't as covert as it could have been. Hmm. I like these morally questionable protagonists. It's a nice and refreshing from the altruistic white knights that we usually have as protagonists in Fire Emblem. Oh, hey, you guys. Disable flux. I'm not sure if it was showing through on the stream at all or not. I just thought of it, but it had gotten to the point where I was having a little bit of trouble differentiating colors there. I wasn't sure if I was looking at green or blue or purple. that was Fargus. I don't think he ever actually said his name. If you say so, Reno. Oh, okay. So they were green and now they're red. That's a new class as well. Huh. Interesting. So we're already going into Radiant Dawn territory where we're fighting our own units. Yep, level 9 with 21 experience. Fine Lance, what is that? Okay. We might still be able to. Let's say you. Witch, huh? I think we might have run into one of those before. There's Reno, there's Tristan. Yeah, I guess before we actually get into this, we could go back and do 1x. That ship's leaving without us. Reno sketched the crew at work. Oh, so he does art, huh? They're shaking the pirates. Yes, they would. Oh, there we go. This might not actually be stuff that was missed, but we'll see. Well, I guess there is some story here, figuring out what Fargus's deal was. I don't know. It might it might have a chapter 2 after this. even just this far in, it's already done this game's already done a nice job of putting together this a political web that has really been missing from a lot of recent Fire Emblem games. The kind of thing like Blood Packs aside, Radiant Dawn had some interesting political stuff going on as well. And I like that they're using that to drive the plot instead of mystical. I was gonna say mystical prophecies, but Tristan here is chasing a mystical prophecy himself. But his story is not the only one here, and it still looks like it's going to be encountering political roadblocks, to say. And are we actually getting enough information from just Tristan to actually understand what Reno is saying? I wonder too. Spoilers. We already know that Fargus's business is gonna cause some trouble. The bloody Alice. Oh, he's leaving them. That's optimistic. Oh, the Alice is the ship's name. Huh, interesting. Yeah, that's probably gonna hurt. Though I've got Reno right here. Reno can probably deal with them. That's a silver sword, yeah. Those are some stats. That's a little more manageable. Cohort. Oh, okay. Just generic female sorceress. Ooh, this is an escape chapter. Cool. Maleficent. You move, you move, you move. Honestly, this guy's the only one with a threatening weapon. This guy's kind of menacing as well, actually. Just stay away from them, I guess. That is a 20% crit rate. I am still really impressed that they made a new spell animation for Dark. Okay. This is Shen, right? Okay. $14 still has a pretty good hit rate. Could try dashing with Tristan. I didn't actually use that last time. Should be good too, right? Yeah, I can go here. Gives him some avoid. Meanwhile, Celeste will bring up the rear because of armored movement. That's neat. Have we seen we must have seen a Lance Cavalier. Did Lance Cavaliers have the standard GBA Cavalier Lance animation? Because Sword Cavaliers and Axe Cavaliers so far have been almost entirely custom, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So weapon triangle advantage gives crit. Maybe it's weapon based, like Awakening and Fates. The bonuses depend on what the actual weapon is as to what bonuses it gives. I can throw a hand axe at him first. Yeah, the bronze axe is very strictly a lesser iron axe. Both has more weight and less might for the same hit. It's an interesting way of balancing an unbreakable weapon. Neither of these have quite the power needed to finish him off. Alright, so with this then. Oops, one more. Oh, he doesn't have a hand axe animation yet. Can't win them all. That's alright. Ugh, we're one shy. Alright, in that case, I may need Tristan here. Yeah, he needed a secondary weapon. We'll continue skirting around those elite troops at the bottom there. Oh, high reinforcements. Arc Thunder. Alright, I kind of want to see what the animation is for that. Kind of. It's probably going to wreck me, though. Trying to explore light magic a little bit more. That's nice. I think 7 and 8 kind of touch on a little bit of anima and dark magic, but most of the games do kind of pass over what the core of light magic actually is about. I think they kind of say it's something to do with, as you said, faith and worship of certain gods, but it's a little bit more nebulous than their treatment of the other magics. Yeah, right? And then we have this world building bit that is, as Shen said, fascinating in its own right. Can I piggyback here? Is it worth doing? Is the other question. I think it should be safe. Right. Or save your skill prevents her from taking penalties, which is good. Tristan would be my best candidate for visiting houses because he can then dash back to catch up if he falls behind. Alright. Defense is good. I can then drop Reno here. Hey, you want to buy a hand axe? It's definitely not cursed. 10% cursed. They put far more effort into these village conversations than they really needed to, and I appreciate that. I really do. Ow. Ow. What? What just happened? Okay. Huh. That hand axe slowed him down a lot more than I expected. He got doubled by 9. Though the crit certainly didn't help. Well, as before, I'm gonna roll. Keep going. These benches? Oh, that's cover. That's defensive tiles. Keep an eye on you, though. Reno's still going to be the best person to deal with her. Usually anything involved with a bench means it's not useful. Alright. Go. That'll do. Oh, that's a woman, huh? I was kind of wondered from the name, but yeah, I guess that could be a woman. Nothing wrong with that. Perhaps. Gonna have to kind of deal with them because they're a little too close to evade. A crit would be nice here. Yeah, just like that. Save me from having to spend a player phase on them. And then you'd go and have that level up. You were doing well there. Even dodged that first attack. And you got another crit. I guess I can forgive that bad level up. taking revenge for Gado. Well, you I can kill in one turn. Oh, he doesn't have a hand axe animation yet either. Alright, there's pretty much nothing down here, so I'm gonna move down here. Hopefully the three of them can kill this guy. Banking on Celeste. How's she do with moderately better. Don't think I need the extra damage from the steel sword, so I'm gonna hope for a hit here. Good. I think Shen should be able to finish him off with his hatchet. Yeah. Huh. It's still going. Huh. Neat. These still the same? No, these are... So what is that? I'm wondering if these guys are going to move in on me or if I have to bait them. Oh, support. You always were the dependable one. You're still alive. Because you may want to start looking around. Gado is given and Gado has taketh away. Yeah, I'm sure he regretted it. Hmm. and I detest every moment. Well, okay then. Okay, good. They do move in on me, which means I can not do much damage at all. 5, 12, yeah. That's might be a problem. I can do this though. Speed. I don't know how that's going to be helpful for her. Speed's always appreciated, but there's another support. Too bad I kind of need this instead for my plan, so that Reno can attack safely. Yeah, figured that would happen. Not even fast enough to double the knight, even with after the speed level up. It's alright though. Oops. Gotta be wary of you as well. You have a short spear. Just, I think buffed might, but otherwise the same as before. Oops. Want that on. What is with that portrait? This face? That... Oh, okay, that visor is covering his mouth, I think, and his eyes are supposed to be in shadow there. It just looks really weird at first glance. Alright, so I guess baiting Maleficent with Tristan wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay, so it is just a typical dragon shield. Who to give it to, though? Tristan comes to mind as a good first option. Celeste might actually appreciate it as well. Shen's caps are actually lower than normal, so I don't know if or when he's going to promote, but it should be soon because he's not going to be able to grow much past, was it like, looks like 15 at most? Can you attack as well? You can. Dare I? I think I can get away with that. Except 12. Let me make sure I don't have the same problem that got Gado killed. So 10 attack speed, 10 attack speed, 3 attack speed. Okay, not gonna get doubled. Oh, I can just flat unequip, huh? Madness. Oh, okay. So that experience can't level you up. Hand axe accuracy. Okay, so these are more of the elite guys that I gotta be wary of. You can go. Just have to be watch out for your range. I should probably keep an eye on him as well. Oh, that's neat. So that marker above Celeste indicates my support level with her with this character, but it's grayed out when I'm out of range, and it's adequately highlighted when I am in range. That's nice to know. Attacking with Shen, because Shen can't reach anyone else. Oh, there's the class change. Cool. He was still gaining experience after level 10, so I wasn't sure if it was going to do the thing like Sacred Stones where it just had to wait until after the next chapter, or if there was something else. But, alright. It just does that then. He was still working off an E weapon rank. Getting big, getting swole. Actually. Hmm. 19. 9. Alright. It's not awful. So pondering here whether or not to, if I can afford to launch an attack with Tristan, or if I should take up a more defensive stance here. I actually, finding out that Tristan may die if he takes 2 hits, I'm actually going to opt for the defensive position anyway. I wanted to do that support with Celeste, but how badly does she mess up Reno? Hey there. Pretty badly, but not enough to kill him. Which means I can afford to initiate this support. If she initiates on Reno, she'll do a lot of damage, but Reno gets the counterattack. Huge. Yeah. do. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, this is the guy that hired Eliza. So now it's coming together a bit. Suppose I don't actually have to kill her. I just need to escape. Though. It'll be a tricky play. Oh, she can't do much to either of them. Shen going ham. Alright, so... can actually do this. 15. So that should leave him with 8 health. Leave her. And that's not reliable enough to bank on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Shen has to stay there. Actually, doesn't really matter because she's got a ranged weapon. Right? Or maybe if Gado had stayed alive, I'd have an extra attack. Excuse me. Wow, Shen did that defense though. Gado was my other ruffian that fell in combat earlier this chapter to a stray crit. Yep. So long. The Archduke has plans. Alright, that's everything. I think we're out of here. Okay, Tristan has to be the one to escape. But it isn't quite an S rank without Gado. I wasn't keeping track of the turns. Yeah, that score isn't the 1-to-1 number of turns. I don't know exactly how. Yeah, looks like no chapter 2 yet. I wonder if they are planning something that might tie them together a little bit more. But previous chapters? Oh, so I guess. So this is my character stats from the end of chapter 1 versus the end of chapter 1X. So now I get to see if Gado stays dead. Yes, I already showed this. I'm gonna skip ahead. Oh, he's not dead. Yeah, it did clear up some of it. Actually, it explained why we were contracted to go after them, I guess. He's got 1 health. That is interesting. Meanwhile, Shen is promoted now. Their inventory's changed. That's okay. Is that Elle wins? Not bad. Yeah, I don't want to kill Reno. What is defeat Celeste and Tristan? Okay. So I also want to take a moment and I guess appreciate the custom houses that are built here. They're rather interesting. It got a bit of a different sense of scale than the villages we're used to, but it does look more like row homes than having like a 6-tile village house just in the middle. Anyway. We've got Merc, Myrmidon. Everything's kind of real close right off the bat. That's not very advantageous. Disruption. Plus, interesting. There are a lot of enemies. They do seem decently spread out though, except for this middle section. This is going to be a little bit rough. But otherwise, it's not too bad. Oh good. My Peg Knight can actually fly over stuff. I remember from Fates when half the time they couldn't. Fortunately, she has ties for the best resistance in my group. It's still not great. I'm still taking quite a bit of damage here. But I do have a healer, so I can afford a little bit of to take a bit of damage, especially when I just dodge it and don't take damage. That's perfectly okay too. All these swords and I only have 2 lances. I think I like the Dark Mage's getting hit animation. Gotta do something with you. Unfortunately, I can't kill him. Melanie is technically my ranged character. She can throw her sword. Fortunately, she doesn't really do enough damage. Brendan also has a bow, but I guess I can wall off like this. Can Melanie take a hit? Melanie's actually got okay defense. Melanie actually has better defense than my Peg Knight. Who'da thunk? Alright. Guess we'll just back them up there. That's 10. You've got 12, 18. Okay, so 10 and less than 10. I suppose this is acceptable. Even if they gang up on Brendan, he can take it. Bolts of gold. Is this really something we should be discussing now? Is this... Read some letters from the eldest brother to his betrothed, talking about... Is this an FE4 reference? Is this an FE4 reference? Maybe not. That's a clever idea. Is that the... Either name is the angry brother. Okay. That does certainly sound like Melanie. You'd want dialogue like this in the next FE game, because this is how supports in the GPA games worked. I mean, you've played Sacred Stones. I don't know if you got very many supports in that, but they would have been formatted like this. If you mean like within the actual combat frame, that would be kind of tricky. there's already kind of voice acting in the 3DS games, but dialogue wouldn't really work that well. It'd probably be relegated to characters that have enemy opposing characters that have conversations, but it also would distract from some of the action. Yeah. I keep forgetting how fragile Zephyr is, so I want to put her on the front line because she's a melee lance user even against sword users, but she's got 3 defense, so even with the weapon triangle advantage, she's still taking a chunk of damage. So it's actually her that I need to be conscious of protecting, rather than Melanie, who I'm accustomed to being the fragile one. Hello, Wyvern Rider. Vaida. That's neat. Cool. That's a very interesting take on her. Very interesting indeed. There are skills. These are all swords. Well, that's a lance. Again, I have to deal with these guys. But I can split these up a bit. That's good enough to kill. That won't kill. 8, 20, no, that's not a very good hit rate though. Let's see if this actually hits. Okay, good. Then I can do something with that. Miracle's not involved yet. Oh, whoops. Wow, she's fast enough to double him. He does have an iron blade. But did he block off? I think that Cavalier should have enough. No, it doesn't. 7, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm more interested in this lizardkin. She already has much to atone for. I don't remember her backstory very well. I like Vaida, but she's not a character that I use very frequently. Well, she's not very fast, though she did decide to bring a steel lance instead of an iron lance. So he's got 4 movement plus 2. Interesting. So that's how they're differentiating wyverns from peg knights. I'm alright with that, actually. I've always kind of thought that wyverns were, on the whole, just pretty much always better than peg knights in terms of combat ability. So giving peg knights a bit more it's just a cowl. Excuse me. Oh, she can talk to Zephyr. Do I have anything? Wow, look at all these supports. Alright, so this is a lance. Let's see. Yeah, that's a typical lance cav animation. Ugh. Alright, I have to use... What is... Oh, you have a Zambato. Alright, well, I don't think we're in range to be in danger here. Alright, well, I was just complaining about her defense, so getting defense is good. I suppose her speed is high enough that she can afford to get a few level ups where she doesn't get speed. Can do this support. 3 dicked, huh? This deployment. So more of the same. No, not technically. Hero's leveling system is actually not random. And this is something that they can only get away with in a fan game that doesn't have to adhere to ESRB and the rating systems. Source and money. It'd be interesting to see that, but I have a feeling I would kind of prefer things a little closer to how they are, mostly because when you have a point system that you distribute manually, I feel like characters lose some of their individuality wherein their personality can be reflected in their stats. And if you have full control over their stats, you can skew them however you want, which kind of takes away some of the value in their character, in my opinion. But I would be willing to try something, certainly. I'm not outright opposed to it, but I don't think it's quite as friendly to the way that what makes Fire Emblem games unique to me. unit size down. What do you mean by unit size? Do you mean the number of units? Because there, I'll just wait for your response. No. Oh, okay, there's the Iron Lance that she needs. That's good. Is this defensive terrain? Oh no, I can't land on it. I can't stand on it. So, low manning, using a very small number of units to clear the entire game is actually considered a problem in Fire Emblem theory crafting. It takes away from diversity by it takes away from the character diversity and balance by providing you with one character or a few characters that can do literally everything, and it means that it de-incentivizes you from strategic thinking that is required from using a more diverse cast that has a better balanced strengths and weaknesses. So Sacred Stones is a prime example of this, mostly in the fact that Seth can basically solo the entire game because he has the speed, the power, the skill, the defense, and the HP to do that. Because all of those are good, they have solid growths behind them. Even on hard mode, he can solo the entire game with a little bit of luck in some of the early level ups before you start getting stat boosters to kind of help even things out. Let's see, I want some support conversations here. And overall, you're certainly welcome to play the game however you want. So it's not a hard facts or in any way objective sense that low manning is technically a bad thing. But in terms of what most of the community agrees on as far as what they think makes the Fire Emblem playing experience unique and entertaining, low manning detracts from that experience. Do I have a heal staff, or is this mend the only thing I have to go on? I think this mend is. Alright. And I've seen a bunch of essays on why having bad characters isn't a bad thing. Like, there's a lot of bad characters in FE6, there's a lot of bad characters in FE1, characters that are objectively inferior in the role that they're intended to play than other characters in your cast. And even though that's the case, they still have value. Just because they're bad doesn't mean they're useless, for one. And a lot of times they're designed around the idea of, that's a very detailed, I guess, place order. One second. Well, I did just get poisoned. Alright, so I didn't actually get one. But back to what I was saying, like, a lot of the earlier games that have these bad units are also balanced around the idea that you will lose units as you play because no one's perfect, and those lesser units are there to give you an option should your primary character, such as your primary like tank or your primary magic user does fall, you have an option to fall back on, even if it's not as good. And then yeah, on the flip side, if every character was super good, I don't know. They having vulnerabilities, having weaknesses, I think is part of what makes characters interesting to use. I think if every character was super good, then they would homogenize, and in terms of combat ability, there would be very little to differentiate them. Staff? Is it a ranged staff? Oh, slow. That's no fun. I'm curious if the witch has a sprite. Man, I really could have used that antitoxin. Alright, well. Check on the attack speeds. Okay, we're safe. Because bad attack speed matchup is what killed Gado, sadly. That's a good point. I'll try that. If I knew how to control her, I'd be the most powerful person. I like this bunch. I've already said that, but so what is the difference? So if I just do a regular rescue, alright. Why is she going that way? Oh, she's going to heal Gado. Oh, that was cool. The custom magic animations continue, and anytime they're done, they're almost always done really well. I really want to nip this witch in the bud, but I can't do that safely. Can I? Oh no, yeah. Especially since they can walk there. Oh yeah. You bring up a good point, so it's certainly to my advantage here at least, though. Should deal with Brendan so I can visit that village. Oh, he's got a smoke. Great Axe Vendetta. Oh, Vendetta's the name of the axe. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, since bows are kind of a unique position in the weapon triangle now. I hadn't thought of that. It's basically triangle adept. Yeah. Yes. Also true. So far it's the same. It was a good idea, but didn't go through, unfortunately. So what's the difference between the Oh, okay. That's what shelter does differently. That's interesting. Horse Slayer. And she can't use the axe revert, of course. Gado back from the dead. Would be interesting if when I was next in control of Tristan's company, if Gado was alive again. Wow, a Wu Dao already? That's kind of nuts too. What is its stats? Oh, it's a FE6 Wu Dao too. With buffs still as well. It's got 9 might, which I think is up from 7, and then 40 crit over 35. Though FE6 Wu Daos were 40 crit as well, if I recall correctly. Now let's just make these even more dangerous than they already were. That's cool. Fortunately, don't have to deal with that nonsense. Oh, the bow's got a better accuracy than the axe. Oh, I see. The open houses with the red roof have stuff that drops. Okay. Didn't last too long. Yeah, you got 13 defense. You're actually nice and bulky, as you should be. Gado with a hand axe. He died with the hand axe too. Actually, I can just avoid that middle section entirely. I don't have to fight them at all. Slow might be broken. Witch doesn't know how to use it. Oops. Oh, okay, there we go. I wonder if this is different for everyone. Oh, that's foreboding. There was a hostage situation. Oh, okay. It was the event we just took care of. Oh, yeah. There's your female bishop that I now have to get out of trouble. Elle. She doesn't come with a staff. Yeah, 8 con. She's thick, yes. Enough to use Shine without penalties. Big enough to rescue a Pegasus. Alright, so I guess I need to find my way into this shop to get some stuff. Some hair. Does that make enough of a difference? 19? Yeah, shouldn't be. Oh, and our thief gets more defense. She talks about not wanting to have to take blades for everyone, even though she's gonna be one of the better ones at doing so. Nice level up. Some interesting armor down her back as well. Okay, so Eliza actually has got decent resistance. So I can, with William's backup, I can bring her in to deal with, at least bait the mage. Oh. Unique animation for, well, of course, if they had made Elle wind, they'd probably have made wind as well. So now I gotta deal with all of them without drawing in these guys. That'll do. I'll take the speed. How fast is she? It's 11 speed. Wow. That's something. Alright, so 13 and 15 won't kill, but will hurt. Let's see, you're 17 and 15. William can actually make a decent magic wall here with Eliza's help, because none of these guys can take out both of them. Alright, I should have enough movement for this. Hit overflow. Oh, actually, I think I've heard about this, but I don't remember. Oh. Oh. That's interesting. That's a neat idea, too. That's cool. That also probably explains where Reno's extra crit was coming from before. And I don't... Let's see. Suppose I can throw Melanie up here. If they want to attack her, she can at least counterattack. Aha. Oh, witch animation. Cool. Not cool that that landed, but did that hit rate just update? I thought it was 60 something. Great. Celeste's on the move. I gotta deal with her. I kind of have to deal with her now. Sorry, Celeste. I think that was pretty conclusive. That's interesting. Okay, so that brings my movement, halves my movement. Okay. Can I kill one of these now? Does that drop my speed too? No. (15) attack speed. Okay, just cannot double attack and avoid -10. That's neat. That's an interesting status. Oh, 2 turns. 2 turns isn't awful. Oh yeah, 62 to 72 is the 10 avoid at work there. Let's see. Can at least harass the witch. Oh, he's actually not taking as much damage as I was expecting him to. Still a lot, but suppose the mage is the more dangerous of the two. Despite the shaman's slightly higher attack, the mage double attacks almost everyone except for Eliza and Melanie. And that's going to add up much faster. Much as I wish I could take out that witch this turn, I need to reduce damage incoming first. Otherwise someone's going to die. Alright, so you can attack all over there. Can I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Can't quite get out of range of the shaman. 6 attack speed, 7 attack speed. That's pretty okay. Suppose I could drop Elle first. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one has a work in progress portrait, but the other one doesn't. Interesting. Still looks pretty good. It's a little rough around the edges, but I can see its potential getting there. Whoever they have doing sprite work really knows what they're doing. Actually use the thief's melee attack for a change. Oof, we're just shy. It's okay, that Brendan's standing by to finish the job. Oh yeah. Alright, so if I've counted this correctly, should be just in range of this shaman, who I can double attack. I do need probably 2 of these. Grants a skill. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Infantry band. That's pretty good too. It's only luck, but it is speed growth. I'm gonna pass over it for now because I don't expect to play long enough for it to make a difference. I will grab Divine just to see what that's about. Am I out of? I'm out of space. Default is 6 spaces, huh? I want a pure water, but I'll have to come back for it. Elle with the ice affinity. Alright, we're almost done here. I think that's all of the villages. I do need to redistribute inventory with Elle, and then I can go back in and get that pure water. But after that, it's just sweeping up Tristan's group down there. Oh, this is just normal flux. Of course. Oh, nice. She's got Lucius's Sprite, which incidentally does work for a female bishop. I don't have to be quite as frugal with his men staff now. Oh, they're coming for me. That's okay. Am I alright for vulneraries? I'm not sure. With 2 healers now, I think I should be okay. I think I'm alright without the lightning as well. So they'll go back. The witch will probably backtrack as well. Pure waters have pretty much always been great. Oof, Reno. 28. Can Brendan one-shot him? No, even Brendan can't. Almost. Almost, but not quite. He's fast too. Brendan's also just slow. Got a 4% crit rate, huh? Not great, but... more supports. That's a good question. They probably do. Oh, she's downcast now. Could conquer the world, huh? They do, yes, they do have supports as an enemy, and they are in fact getting bonuses. But not Gado. Oh, Reno doesn't say anything. So where will the witch go? I'm actually kind of glad that I separated the witch from the Tristan and Reno earlier on, because it means she didn't follow them, even though she clearly wanted to. I can't afford to take another hit from the... oh, but that won't really help me much. Wow, even Melanie can end Tristan. He's not really sturdy. 15 speed, 13 speed. Is he slowed down? A little bit, yeah. 2, yeah. But if I could do it with Eliza, though. It is a bit of an unnecessary risk, but see, does she at full health? Can she survive a crit at full health? She can at full health. Let's do that. Oh, nice. I don't think I've seen her crit before. Did we? Then again, I also don't know if this was a case of her actually landing a crit or if it was the kill them boss with the last hit and it's automatically a crit. I didn't want to kill too many of them. I already ended Gado. Man, I can almost still hear his voice. She's got interesting back armor there. Hmm. I did not get a chance to actually use Elle in battle, unfortunately. If there's a chapter after this, I look forward to being able to do that, but I think this will be the last chapter for tonight since it is 12:30 local time. And I have done 3 chapters, which was a little more than I was planning on doing, but the game's so good, I just get caught up in it. What did she just say? These folks are likely innocent. Clearly has some reservations about that. There is a 4x. Cool. I'm going to take a quick peek, just as a preview, but we won't actually dive into it until next week. Skip cutscenes and stuff too, just so I don't overly spoil myself. So this is a neat effect. It's kind of like a fog of war, but it doesn't actually diminish my information, which I like. What is this? A diviner. Another female thief. Inmate. Why do you have a strength boost? Skill boosts strength. Might. Okay, so skill boost strength is probably where that strength boost is coming from, but it doesn't say how. Another short bow. My nemesis. Skill die by 3, I guess. That 17. So what is Melanie getting? Melanie's getting 4. So that does seem to add up. You're probably right on that one. That's another neat effect. I like that, where characters that are low in strength can still make up for their power through other sources, and this reflects that. Skill being really the only one that really makes sense. It'd be neat if Myrmidons might have that, or maybe as like a personal skill, because they could use it. Okay, it's an interesting mix. There are some bandits. There's a brigand here, and a thief that may potentially threaten villages, which is something that I don't think has happened yet. There might be something going on over here too. And I have a 20 turn limit, which seems pretty generous. We'll see if there's a flow of reinforcements or not. But otherwise, I didn't I did show her sprite, but I didn't show her actually attacking something. Okay, it's pretty standard. Not to say it's bad. I still like the bishop's animations, but I like this darkness effect. It's something I don't think that the GBA games could do, and especially since it spreads with my characters. Oh, there were conversations last chapter that I didn't get. That's all right. I'll try to be a bit more thorough about them this time. I let myself get split up a little too aggressively last time. Yeah, and it's kind of like Fog of War, but it doesn't actually hide information from me like a traditional Fog of War would. For a game like Fire Emblem, Fog of War has always been a bit of a point of contention. On one hand, tactics games tend to feature Fog of War, as it being its namesake, you are not always certain of all what you're going to have to face when you have to be prepared to deal with the unpredictable. For a game like Fire Emblem that features permadeath, though, it can be unnecessarily punishing for players that didn't necessarily do anything wrong, and that's in itself not a good game design. And part of the problem being that Fire Emblem hasn't always given the player good enough ways of dealing with the Fog of War, unlike in something like, say, StarCraft, where your units, you have potentially expendable units. You have scouting specific units that can go out, collect information for you, and the expendability of such units also helps make, if they get lost or blindside ambushed or something, less of a big deal than it is in Fire Emblem, where if you get ambushed and killed by something you didn't know was there, then you might have lost a fairly important piece of your army. And especially frustrating if it's a character that you've been investing in for most of the game. But I'm not sure if there's a good way of doing Fog of War and Fire Emblem yet. Because this is the appearance of a Fog of War, but it's not a true Fog of War. Oh, the class role has expanded, possibly to include units that I've met now, that I've made some made some progress in the actual story. That's neat. Oh, that's a different thunder effects animation. Huh. Yeah, I wonder if Uther's coming back. We'll see. Maybe he will. I'm pretty sure I've seen chapters of this game that, now that I think about that, feature Uther that haven't happened yet, which means there probably is at least one more Uther chapter, which is heartening to me because as I've been saying, I've been thoroughly enjoying this, and I hope to play as much as it has to offer. Is there actually a swing effect on that axe? It wasn't quite a smear. It was a little more advanced than that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I have been. and we're looking forward to doing more next week. Thanks for joining me tonight, and have a good night, everyone.